Afternoon, Cherries fans, and welcome to this impromptu video. I thought I'd make one because there's been a lot of negativity around Gary O'Neill, a lot of people still calling for him to be dismissed at this time of the season. We had a really good free-for-all yesterday. We've also had a number of shows where we've spoken to people about Gary O'Neill, including Mark McAdam, Kieran Maguire, those sort of people, and I've met him in person myself, so I wanted to give my honest opinion. Yes, after the Liverpool result, which was a fantastic performance, fantastic result, it was a little bit of crashing back to ground really on Saturday. Villa, I wouldn't say were much the better side. Now that is the thing that a lot of fans I think have got wrong. I think what we did was we went 1-0 down, and when we were 1-0 down, we did perform decent enough. We weren't bad. We weren't bad at all. However, my honest opinion is that we did get some tactics wrong, and one of those tactics, I'm going to be truthful and honest with this, and I know it's going to be unpopular, but it was bringing on David Brooks when we did. Now, and probably the formation. It's not David Brooks' fault. I think it's a shame he didn't get many touches on the ball, but I think it's because we were really under the cosh from Aston Villa because of the tactics that had been made. And the tactic, of course, that was made was to take off Adam Smith and put on David Brooks. To be fair, we went a little bit more attacking, and that's something a lot of fans have asked for in the past, not to sit back. We're chasing a game, 1-0, we were 1-0 behind, and, the game wasn't lost at that point. But I think that tactic put the defence under a lot of pressure by a decent side. And then Villa are a decent side under Unai Emery. They're a totally different side to what was there earlier on in the season under Gerrard. I think that was a big mistake, and it's no fault of David Brooks's. It is a case, and it was amazing to see him back, but I think it was the wrong time to actually make that move. And hopefully, fingers crossed, Gary will learn from that and think, right, okay, I made the wrong call there, and not do that in the future. I think it's a shame. It's a shame going getting beat off the back of such a great win like that. But I still think Gary has earned himself the chance. He's got ourselves into a position now with those Liverpool wins and with also the Wolves win and the draw against Newcastle. We was narrowly beaten by Arsenal, who, let's be honest, are going to win the league. In my honest opinion, are going to win this Premier League trophy. I think, you've got to give him the rest of the season. I think he will get us enough points to stay up. I think we have got a favourable run in. Yes, everything's a risk. But then again, bringing in Marcelo Bielsa would have been a risk. Bringing in Kajil Knutson would have been a risk. I've banged on about him so much. Carlos Corberán, I really like the man. I really like his management skills. He would have been a risk. Anybody would be a risk at this point in time. There's only one man that you could say wouldn't be a risk, and that would be Eddie Howe, because he knows the club inside out. We know him inside out, but he's at Newcastle. He's not going to come back. I think Gary has done well with what he's had. What we've got to keep in mind, and what a lot of fans don't think of, is that we had a lot of injuries. During that spell, after the World Cup, we had quite a lot of injuries that led through. We started back with a horrible game against Chelsea. We had the cup game against Newcastle, which was early. It was always going to be a little bit difficult. Remember, we come back after COVID under Eddie, and we struggled to get going after that. And I think this is a similar sort of situation. The injuries that he's been handed, unfortunately, any manager's going to get injuries, and it can define your season. You look at even some of the best teams in the world, they get a couple of injuries, they can lose the league title. They need those players, and some of them, say for example, Man City get injuries. It doesn't really affect them because they have got the players in backup to actually come back into that squad and then who can fill in. But we haven't got that luxury. We haven't got that luxury. The loss of Marcus Tavernier, for example, will knock us more than it would do somebody else because we hadn't, at that point, got strength in depth. Solanke was a massive loss. Although one thing with Solanke is for a striker, maybe he does need to find his shooting boots, and maybe we need to look at maybe Kiefer Moore. But he's a good player. He's a very, very good player, but he is a striker who will make things happen. He'll pass the ball back. He's not greedy. And to be fair, I think it's a real shame that this criticism has come back out about Gary after that positive performance. He's a good, decent manager, but is he a good, decent manager at this level? I think he still needs to learn, but he is going to get there, and I've got no shadow of doubt that he will do just that. It's going to take a bit of time. Can we afford that time? Maybe not at this moment, but I don't think we can afford to change it either because, yes, a new manager bounce might be helpful. It might work, but then again, it might not as well. And we could be going into the Championship with somebody who has even less experience. I think it would be unfair, as much of a legend as Tommy Elphick is, to actually expect him to actually take hold of the mantle at the helm of the club. So there is that as well. I'm full of positivity. I think we can do it. I think we can stay up. We have got that run of 3 games in a row where we're playing West Ham, Southampton, and then, of course, Leeds. Those 3 games are critical. I think those games will define our season. I think we want it all sewn up by the Crystal Palace game. Of course, we've got Manchester United at home, and then we've got Everton away. We do not want to be going to Goodison Park trying to get a result, because that is going to be a cauldron, and it's going to be a very, very difficult, nasty place to go, especially if they're looking for something. So we've got plenty of time. We've now got a Fulham team that we're going to be playing who are going to be without Willian, who are going to be without Mitrovic, who's going to be without their manager on the sidelines, who's going to be in a bit of disarray. They haven't been particularly playing well. They did play well yesterday up until that point. They were 1-0 up against Manchester United, but they're beatable. They're beatable. We can get a result. We're at home. We've beaten Liverpool at home. What I think Gary needs to do is, I think he should stick with the formation, the 4-4-1-1 that has worked. I think Solanke up front, maybe Dongo behind him, but maybe not. And I think stick with what got us the result against Liverpool. But what I would drill into those players before that game is I would actually make them watch that Liverpool game a couple of times over, just so that they get it into their mentality and get this Aston Villa game out the way, because it was a shame. It was, like I say, I don't think it was some of these fans who are turning around and saying it was a shambolic display, it was terrible, it was awful, it was horrendous, we're awful day, sack the manager. Of course, the PE teacher thing has come back out. It's so disrespectful for a manager who has shown his worth, who's coached at the top of the game. He coached for Liverpool, for example. I think it's so disrespectful. And I think, it's such a shame that the fans can go from that to that in the split second. I think, Gary, stick with what has worked and get the players watching that Liverpool game. Just get that into their mentality that that was what they did and what they achieved, because Virgil van Dijk did not enjoy that match. You know, Jack Stevens at the back had him covered every time a ball went into the box. We were good. We were very, very good for that victory. And there was always that worry, because they're a big side, they're a good quality side, that, 1-0 up, you might need another one. But we managed it. We managed it. And I think personally, this Aston Villa game is disappointing. It is disappointing. But at the same time, it's not the end of the world. We're in no worse spot, really, because we've still got games in hand on a number of teams. No team in 12th, say for example, they haven't pulled away from us. We're exactly at the same position as what we were on Friday night. I think we've still got such a good chance. We've still got such a good chance. All it's going to take is for a team to get a couple of results going, and we'll be out of it. And I've got confidence that can be us. If we can get a couple of results going where, maybe 4 unbeaten or something like that, 4 unbeaten, couple of wins in there, couple of draws, that could put us quite clear. Effectively, 2 wins, 2 draws, that's 8 points. And we'd still have a good 7 games left to go. So it's doable. It really is doable. Don't get on Gary's back. It doesn't help. It's horrible, and it's not nice that it's toxic. Let's get behind this manager. Let's get behind this team. Let's get behind this football club, and let's all pull together to achieve the aim, which is to keep this football club in the Premier League. Who goes down? I don't give a care in the world at this moment in time, as long as we don't. Just all we need to do is pick up enough points to stay above that dotted line and just keep pushing forwards, because 8 points added on to what we've already got, I think we'd be almost there. I think it's going to be a low points total. It will keep you up this season. I think 36 could keep you up. Maybe 37. Let's be honest. If we can get to 40, for example, that's it done. But, I think it'll be less than that. A few less. 36, I think, will do it. Do tell us what you think. I am right behind Gary. I know that there's going to be a lot of fans who are going to be watching this who aren't behind Gary, but let us know what you think. Please hit the subscribe button as well. And yes, hopefully, fingers crossed, after this international break, we can get back to winning ways with a victory against Fulham. Come on, you Cherries.